flags, just fans of this beautiful, beautiful sport.
And look at all the heads just watching the rider. There's no hello mum, I'm on TV moment here from these fans. They just want to see this man and say that they have seen him.
Breathe in the dust.
Yeah.
That's what, this is capturing the essence of our sport. Okay, the modernisation as well with all the phones, but look at the delight, the emotion, the genuine joy that those people are getting watching this man perform. In fact, every rider that passes will get the same sort of reception.
It's euphoric.
It is.
36.4 kilometres from home. 1:46 is what Tadej Pogačar has. There is a chase group of 14 who have shaken out some very notable names from those who could stay as close as they're possible to him. Peo Bilbao has drifted off the back. Bras Alfonso likewise has gone indeed that way. Tell you who is outstanding within this group, apart from, as well as Ben Healy, of course, Tom Pidcock as well. We have Del Toro here, Jan Christian. Wout van Aert has ridden beyond himself almost constantly. He is showing that he's absolutely getting himself back to a fantastic place. He's got a teammate here in the form of Matteo Jorgensen, who's already showing a great deal of strength as well. And this assembly of a chase keeps changing in terms of its roster. Ultimately, of course, the very best will out, and I've got to say that Ben Healy, if he's not actually lighting the fire, he's retrieving the gaff. He is the most animated of everyone who's back here.
He certainly has. He's actually recruited Volgren here, thankfully, to move through in front. Good to see Volgren back in form after a couple of... It's such a horrific injury about 3 or 4 years ago. But fair play to the EF team. He actually had a contract with the Continental team for a year just to get back into flow of racing. It was a catastrophic leg break, and now is back to near his best and fighting it out with the finest riders in the world. But it is the Dane trying to sew this back together. The counter-attack, the dangerous counter-attack by Sexas has drawn Jorgensen and Tom Pidcock clear. This is a good little counter-attack, but I tell you who's rode a brilliant race as well are the two riders from UE Team Emirates, Christian there, and Del Toro has marked absolutely every move. He's just floating around this bike race, it really is.
Don't be surprised if it's a UE 1-2-3 today. They have been playing a very, very clever game. They've had to, indeed, of course, burn their own energies, but right now they are using a tow rope on those who are out front of them. They're latching onto them every single time, as you said, Matt, but don't for one moment think they won't be thinking about a decent result for themselves at the end of this day.
Indeed. One of the teams we do have to give a shout out for as well. Okay, they've got Sexas in this front, is Paul Lepera and Jordan Labrosse. Decathlon CMA CGN. I'll get it right eventually, maybe by the Vuelta. I've ridden a blinder. One of the only other teams with 3 riders in the front of this bike race, 2 for EF. We've got 2 for Visma Lisa bike as well. But well done to Decathlon. Absolutely superb stuff. They can just sit back now, and it's EF who are on the back foot. It's a big effort though to close this gap. Healy just counter-attacks straight off the back. When there's a little bit of a drag, Volgren has done his work, and it's now Healy dragging the rest back into contention. A real spiteful turn of speed by the Irishman. But what he doesn't want to do is drag everybody back. But also, if he doesn't, he might be throwing away a podium place in this race. But meanwhile, the gap has come down to Tadej Pogačar, but he's got so much of a buffer here. I don't think there's any danger of him blowing or anything. He just needs to maintain his own effort and make sure he gives it his all on the climb, so he can use that buffer to his benefit and actually have a little bit, not where he coasts, but where he can just back off a little bit, back from approaching that threshold bit of riding, knock it off, and then go again. So 1:28, still a comfortable lead.
Look at that, 80 kilometres solo in 2024, broke his own record for the longest solo in the race. So we were kind of knowing that he was going to have a dig. It was a question of when, and of course it was pretty much at the same point.
It was. It was when he was on.
There we are.
Nice.
3+ this time by in the breakaway. That is an awful long time to be on your own.
Used to it. I mean, they've been lucky to get the stat of how many miles, how many kilometres of breakaways Tadej has had over the years that's taken him to success. I bet he spent the equivalent of a few days out in front on his own. Yeah, he is incredible. We've seen the social media stuff of him recently. The big race that he wants to win this again, of course, but the one that he wants under his belt, Roubaix, and of course, above all, I think, Milano San Remo, has already set the record on the Poggio, riding behind the scooter, isn't he? He is so focused, wants to hoover up all of the monuments, and I think there's only one man on the planet that can do that, and we're looking at him right now.
Amazing. He's never going to go track racing. We need to worry.
Never know. But he just looks so composed. Okay, the lead has dropped, but that's because there's been really sharp accelerations, and the last thing he needs to do is that he'll lift it on the climbs, because that's where he can really make the difference. But he's got time on his side. He doesn't need to panic. He's been in this position so many times before. He knows exactly what he needs to do. So use the bits of the course to actually ship a bit of time, just relax, and then go all in for the final half an hour of this race. But he looks almost effortless, the way that he turns those pedals. This is Healy has actually been detached. Again, those big sharp efforts amongst this sort of company are clearly paying here for Ben Healy.
Yeah, I'm afraid so. It's a long day if you're starting to struggle. Almost as long. You know, we're talking about team names. Do you remember Androni Giocattoli, Venezuela, Zydemek, Caol?
How can I forget it? Gianni Savio's team, of
the
course.
Great Gianni Savio, the Little Prince. I remember him saying, when you mention my team, I expect you to mention the whole name. It's like,
I used to love it. It's like a poem. Yeah.
32 ኪሎ ሜትር ተሪፎም አለው ሎጋቻር ሀዲሙሎ ሰብስክራይብ ላይክ ሼር እናገበርኩም ቤተሰብ ሰብስክራይብ እናገበርኩም ሰብስክራይብ ሰብስክራይብ ላይክ እንዳገበርኩም ቦጋቻር ሀዲሙሎ ቀዳማይ ከወጻይ ቦጋቻር ጽቡቅ ይደሎ ሰብስክራይብ ላይክ ሼር ያደርጋችሁ ቤተሰብ
I often describe EF Education to Easy Post as kind of a neutrals team because they always produce
ቦጋቻር ሀዲሙ ይሎ 32 ኪሎ ሜትር ተሪፎም አለው ጾታን ሁዳ ሰብስክራይብ እናገበርኩም ያዋ ሰብስክራይብ
He's one of the most exciting bike riders out there because he can do a little bit of everything. He likes to go long. The thing about Ben, he's remarkably calculated in terms of his bike setup, etc. But what he is, within this focus and calculation about his kit, his bike, his speeding strategies, he'll do what he wants. He's quite unpredictable within that. So it's almost like a paradox because he rides the way he wants. It's ridiculous. He gives absolutely everything. A lot of the way he prepares is there's no stone unturned. Sometimes the way he races is beautifully unpredictable. I like the way that he races. He's one of my favourite pure racers out there. He is a thoroughbred bike racer, and year on year, just getting better and better and better. And it won't be too long, one would imagine, before he gets the set. Remember, 9th overall in the Tour last year as well, which is completely unexpected. Just went for stage wins and ended up 9th overall. So, yeah, brilliant.
30 seconds, just about, is the gap between the Healy group and indeed the main pursuers here. Jan Tristan and Isaac Del Toro, teammates. Here they are at the back of this group. That's by design, I'll remind you. They're saving as much energy as they possibly can because they'd like second and third, quite frankly, behind their teammate Tadej Pogačar, who's out front by a minute.
Tadej Pogačar.
Roman Gregoire is part of that group. Paul Seixas as well. We have Tom Pidcock, Gianni Vermeersch and Matthew Jorgensen, but all in the wake of this man. It's another wake-up call to everybody as this season starts with him box fresh and indeed heading apparently for victory with 30 kilometres to go. Let's wait and see. As a minute 22, strange things can happen, particularly in this race, so nothing is absolutely a given. But given his results and indeed the way he starts the season, do not be surprised if he delivers. Chasing in that third group is Jordan Labrosse, Paul Lepera, Ben Healy, Michael Valgren, Valseminor, Wout van Aert, amazing after his long road back from injury. Andreas Kron as well. But with 30 kilometres to go, Tadej Pogačar is in charge of his own, yet again, chapter of Strade Bianche.
Yeah, he's absolutely flying. We saw that stat there. The fastest Strade Bianche was 40.8 k's an hour. I think we're running now at 42.8. So we are 2 k's an hour ahead of the fastest ever version, edition, shall I say, of Strade Bianche. And so he's again, it is a beautiful, it's ideal racing conditions. Not too hot, not too cold, hardly a breath of wind, only a little bit of a breeze. And that's and an aggressive race as well. The way that UAE Team Emirates set him up with 80 k's to go, so only just over halfway, for crying out loud. This man is imperious. He really is. Okay, we've still got 30 odd k's to go. Let's have a look at Siena.
Well, Siena is, of course, our starting point and our ultimate destination. Finishing, of course, up the hill, Piazza del Campo. Well, we have seen some amazing contests up that final series of ramps. We've also seen solo wins as well. You're never quite sure how it's going to pan out. Never a bunch sprint, but as near as damn it on occasion. Selective sprints we have had. But selection, has it already been made? That's the question.
Yeah, the gap is coming down, but he looks really composed. I'm trying to think back to the last time we saw Tadej Pogačar in any severe state of distress, and it was about 3 years ago. It was in Lombardia when he started to get cramps.
That's right.
With about just on the approach to the climb up to the Città Alta in Bergamo, and he got cramps. He had to drop back to the car, get some vinegar, put in water, and he said he had to ride in a slightly less aero style just to get rid of the cramps. That's the last time we've seen him in any sort of distress, save for the capitulation in the Tour that we know about. But he seems to be riding in a really composed fashion. And again, despite the best, I mean, one man against six or rolling through, you're not going to just build that time gap. But also he knows that gap. He'll be fed that information constantly. He knows the sector's still to come. And by the look on his face, I think we all know Tadej Pogačar reasonably well just by the body language. He does look to be still riding hard. Of course he has to at this sort of level, but within himself. I still think he's going to back off a little bit now. And then if that gap does start to come down, he's still got time. He only needs to win this by 30 seconds. He doesn't need to destroy himself in the process. And what he knows not to do on such an unforgiving course, run at this unrelenting pace, is to overcook it. So he's got a good gap, a good buffer. I think he's riding within himself at the moment.
Tom Pidcock always finished his Strade Bianche in the top 5. He's 5th to 21, then winner, then 4th, 2nd from 23 to last time. That's an amazing record.
It is. It's really impressive, isn't it?
Amazing. It was a stuck record, you might say. I also noticed that Jan Christ is...
ጽባሕ ናይ በዓል ቢናም ንሸሞንተ መድረኽ ዝኣክል ፀወታ ኣለዎም ጫማ እንታን ክመፀኩም ሳብስክራይብ ላይክ ሸር እናገበርኩም ይሕዋት ናይ በዓል ቢናም ጽባሕ ክጅምር እዮም ሸሞንተ መድረኻት
Yeah, I think a 1-2. I think a 1-2-3. Given how well Sexas is going, I think
Tadej Pogačar ሃዲሙሎ
podium spot unless he completely mucks things up or just blows. I think what we saw early on.
ጽባሕኻ ናይ በዓል ቢናም ኣሎ ፀወታ ንሸሞንተ መድረኻት ዝኣክል ክንሕልፎ ብላይፍ ስለ ዝኾንና ኩላኹም ሳብስክራይብ ላይክ እንዳገበርኩም ይሕዋት ቻነል ሓድሽ ዝኾንኩም
That kind of strength on the climbs. We've seen it over the last few weeks. He's already had wins, of course. And the way that he just rode Matteo Jorgensen off his wheel in France the other day was ridiculously impressive. He almost rode him off his wheel by mistake. He is a real talent. This is where the team car and his management from the team car, like, they're going to have to really keep eating, keep drinking, keep eating, keep drinking, keep that fuel topped up. Because for me, the man who's eyeing second spot today out of all of these riders is Paul Sexas. He just doesn't want to muck it up by just doing a little bit too much. But then you just never know. Del Toro, if he's that rested, might be that little bit quicker, because of course Sexas is riding. He's rolling through. But then, yeah, it's all to play for the final steps on the podium. But as we look at the time gap from 1:17, Tadej Pogacar almost inevitably has stolen back just a few seconds. It's now 1:23 and 2:03 to this group on the road.
What a day it's been here. What a beautiful day as well in this part of Italy. It's hard to kind of quantify just how spectacular the Piazza del Campo is. If you ever get a chance to come to this part of the world, then make sure that you actually come along and enjoy it. We kind of eulogize the place, but it's very much become a crucible of our sport, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an amazing location. Just on its own, Siena is super special. One of the places that saw really the birth of the Renaissance. If you look back at the history of this place, it is incredible. Some of the most important art in the world came from this very place, was born here. But then to have the celebration of our sport here, of course, Italy has always been in love with the bicycle, has always been in love with cycling as a sport. And to see the Tifosi here and the way that Siena embraces this race. This race is in its 20th edition now, but it feels like it's been with us for a century. And that's how natural it feels here. And Siena is the home to Strada Bianca. And I don't think you could have this race. This Siena is synonymous with Strada Bianca. You couldn't have it anywhere else, Carlton. If I don't think you could. This is it now. It's like the Via Roma in Milano San Remo, isn't it? You couldn't have it anywhere else.
You couldn't have it anywhere else, and we wouldn't want it to be any other way. I remember when it first started, and this is a young race. This is the 20th edition of it, and it almost instantly ingratiated itself in the hearts and minds of everybody associated with cycling. It was recognised instantly as a fantastic venue, and so it has proven to be. It's been remarkable.
Yeah, it has, and it was, again, 20 years ago, there was no such real thing as gravel. I mean, the idea of gravel racing, gravel riding, it was more like, well, this is gravel, but it wasn't really a thing.
Yeah.
And it was such a different sort of race as well, and it was a breath of fresh air, and has formed its own clear identity and has its place on the calendar. And I know that for many professional riders and fans alike, it is their favourite race, and has been for a little while now. It's, it is a beautiful race. So exciting, run through some of the most stunning countryside you'd ever wish to see.
Yeah, and on days like today, when the weather has blessed us as well, it doesn't take away from the drama of it at all.
No.
In fact, I think the drier the surface, the dustier it gets, and that has its own skill set required to actually cope with it. Check this out, Matt. Young Kristen just off the back ever so slightly at the moment as the pace kicks up.
Yeah, I wonder if he dropped back for some fuel or something there. I don't know, we're not too sure, but I think he's okay, because he's not having to ride here, and his Ramirez is on the front, but he's just linked back up to the back wheel of Isaac Del Toro. But Ramirez driving hard on the front, Jorgensen just behind him. Then we've got Gregoire, and then his fellow countryman running for a different team, Paul Sexas, and then also in that group, the British rider Tom Pidcock, looking good there in that new livery of Pinarello Q36.5. I must admit, I'm a big fan of their new kit for 2026.
Yeah, it's what do you think of the NSN cycling team kit?
It's nice. It's quite nice.
Yeah, but then again, so is a Quattro Stagioni pizza. Bit of everything in there, I think.
Yeah, it reminds me of the Madison Genesis kit, the British team that from the Tour Series back in the day.
There we go. Yes.
A British throwback there.
There it is. Yeah. Why not? Yeah, regardless, I was a bit of a British throwback myself. 23.4 kilometres to go. Matteo Jorgensen is putting on the hurt at the moment. Mabana no longer part of the front group, just slightly divorced at the moment. He's in good company. Ben Healy and Michael Volgren also, indeed, drifted back ever so slightly after some very sprightly efforts by both Valgren and Ben Healy. They'll be looking after each other, hopefully for a decent finish. But we've now got a grading of the grains, as they say, and right now it's Paul Seychelles who I think
22 ኪሎ ሜትር ተሪፎም ኣሎ ጾታ ንኽውዳእ
as favourites from this group. Don't take away from Isaac Del Toro as somebody else who could kick on here, but I think that might be your top five. No disrespect to anybody who's part of that group, they could all get themselves a podium.
Well, Del Toro has ridden a brilliant race.
ንዓባይ ጉጅለ ብ2 ደቂቕ 15 ሰከንድ ፈሊዋ ኣሎ ታዴ ቦጋቸር
Toro's just ridden as a brilliant foil, shutting things down all the time, has never been out of position, is immediately reacted to any other threats that he's snuffed out. But then he's had a relatively, and I say this is a hard attritional race, he's had a relatively easy ride, and he is one of those riders with ridiculous snap and explosivity. So I would say that he's marginally maybe the favourite to get the runners-up spot, but Paul Seychelles had to be not too far behind him. Maybe that's the real battle, I think. Don't rule out Tom Pickle. I think those three are my favourites out of that group anyway.
Well, you've just seen every time since 2020, Tadej Pogačar begins his racing, it ends with a win. Goodness me. Well,
Yeah,
if you wondered why he was not on favourite for today, look no further.
it's some record, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, it's absolutely incredible. That 100th win, of course, in the Tour de France last year. And as you say, still a relatively young man. 2.6 k's to go to this next sector. There's another little punchy club. You just see there's our first little proper grimace. You don't often see grimaces, but again, this is where Tadej Pogačar can make that little bit of a difference.
I don't think it was a grimace. I think his team spoke to him on the radio because they got an up the nostril shot. They were probably saying, we can see right up your nose, and a smile came across
Who
his
knows?
face.
I'm not going to rule anything out. I'm not going to rule anything out. Look at this lovely shot through the cypress trees here.
Gorgeous.
The rainbow bands in this early spring day here in Tuscany, and that's where we are on the route.
You know, the cypress trees in Tuscany, they're a bit like the poplar trees of France, aren't they? Yeah. There are other trees, but in France they're quite popular.
Christian, has he been distant on this descent again? I think he's dropping off the back quite a lot. I mean, I don't know whether that was just technique.
I don't know either. I felt that he was struggling just a little bit, but he's been doing an awful lot of work. He's also been servicing his Del Toro. So he's been going to the car, getting him drinks, all that kind of stuff. I think Del Toro, when he was in his moves, he was never at the head. But I think Christian was a bit more of an animator in this race. What do you think?
Here we go. We're going to see what's happened here.
Something's happened. Is it a chat?
Has he had... Did he...
Finish the sentence.
Yeah, no, I'm just looking. Because they give this a slow motion replay just for some reason. But maybe it's just some nice artful shots. I think no, there he goes. He wants to drink. That's it. That's why he's off the back. But after 20 k's to go, they can't take any more. So they're coming into the last couple of k's before they need to feed. So that's probably what he's doing.
It's for him and water carrying for Del Toro, because he got a bottle for Del Toro a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
Good spot now. Here we go. Are you ready? 20 k's to go.
He looks good on the bike, Mateo Jorgensen, doesn't he? Little flick of the elbow there.
He's got a Tom Dumoulin coat hanger in his jersey.
Do you know what he looks like? He looks like a cross between Dumoulin and Bradley Wiggins on a bike.
Yeah.
He's a taller rider,
yeah,
but just looks poised. He just looks absolutely dialed on a bike. So does this man, but in a very different way.
Yeah.
Tadej
Pogačar looks like nobody other than himself, and he is the benchmark to which all others will be measured for quite some time.
He is indeed. Just banks into this left-hander, leans the bike over into this little right one as well. Taking it easy, not needing to take any risk, doesn't need to push at all. Relatively stress-free when you're not surrounded by other riders as well, as he passes through the 20 k's to go board, 134. So he's just bouncing around up between 120, 140, isn't it?
Oh, he's even hexagoning corners here. Just double checking.
That's where he fell last year.
That's right, that's why.
He went through nice and easy.
Yes, he did.
Not taking any chances.
Do you know what I said about hexagoning? Just for those of you sort of taking a series of straight lines on a corner that he knows the danger of. So he was built in the insurance, hadn't he, just as he sailed round?
There's no way he was taking any chances there, Tadej Pogačar.
Let's have another look, shall we?
Here we go. Look.
Here we go.
Nice and easy.
Yeah.
Tadej corner. As a little wave, and he's not gone agricultural this time. He's not picked up any vegetation in his helmet. Good stuff. We can breathe easy.
Oh, that was hilarious. You saw the double check before he got there.
Because I thought, that's his corner.
Yeah,
there we go.
Tadej Pogačar's going to bring this home. 95 seconds is his advantage, and he can just pick all the lines through. He can keep the bike more upright than anybody else who's contending. And so the penultimate Strade Bianche, the longest of what remains. There's a more technical, of course, still to come. This is his Pizzuto.
Yep.
He has the Tolfe still remaining, which is a 4-star section because of its gnarliness. It can bite. But right now he's taking a big chunk out of this one.
Yeah, this is a long one. This is where he might just give it a little bit of a push, just to squeeze and just carve a little bit more of a gap. And again, just bobbing, that familiar style of his, just opting for the left-hand side of the road, avoiding that little crown where there's more and more gravel. And therefore he's got some those long old climbers that 2.1 kilometres long, with those little plateau sections as well for recovery. But I'm expecting his lead just to increase ever so slightly up here. But also behind from that group, I'm expecting Mr. Sexas to go on the offensive again. And I think we might see the chase group slightly reduced by the time we get to the top.
I think you're right. Let's see. At the moment, there is 55 seconds between the chasing group and the group 3 as we have it at the moment. Now, I'm going to turn a big pan into a selfie in a few moments' time. It's the way it works. Appearing on social media any moment. 18.5 kilometres from home. What an arena we have waiting to welcome Tadej Pogačar. You quite rightly point out all the Slovenian flags. I've got to tell you, many people in Slovenia listen in to English commentary because they love hearing their heroes fated in English. It gives them an international frame to their amazing athletes, of which there have been a string. The greatest of all is Tadej Pogačar.
Indeed, for a very small nation, they've produced absolute megastars of cycling, haven't they? And here is their greatest, possibly the greatest. And there's my favourite sign of the day, Forza Tadeo. It just flows so nicely, doesn't it? Seems like it was made to be slightly Italian. Here we go. When are we going to see the next move? Sexas at the back, trying to get through the centre. Just like Jan Christian, just trying to block him a little bit here.
Yeah, look at Pidcock trying to find at least some vision out there, and suddenly the pace changes, and Jan Christian wants to put some hurt on here. This is for Del Toro. He's already water carried, been back to the car, called for drinks, handed them out. They've managed to get themselves the sustenance they need to finish the day, but let's see how they do it. Just bouncing there, Tom Pidcock, number 131 in the dark blue with UBS written upon his shoulders. Sexas is also very much in there. Likewise, Roman Gregoire, who's been riding brilliantly today, almost unmentioned within this group, but don't be surprised if he gets himself a good finish.
Sexas is off.
Look, it's starting to just pedal a few squares at the back here. Is it just because he was out of position? But as you say, Sexas has gone for this.
Yeah, remember this is a climb that you really need to pace this of. Sexas are just seated, just gradually accelerated. Isan Del Toro fighting to stay in the slipstream of the flying Frenchman. He's eating into the lead, or taking a few seconds off the lead of Tadej Pogačar, but we saw this last time up. Sexas just towards the top of that steepest part of the climb, looks around, surveys the damage. He's got one man with him for company. This time he won't wait up.
No, he won't. And Del Toro is going to be there.
It won't work.
It's not going to work. It doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter how many times Sexas asks him. He's going to lean upon him. Yeah, exactly. Because Del Toro wants second place, for goodness sake, and he can carry on surfing like this all day long.
Exactly, and also the optics don't look good at all. I mean, there's at one point he might gently roll through when there's no threat at all. But the thing is, Sexas is such a talented rider, and we still don't know that much about him. You know, everything is still. We've only got a few races. We know he's going to be an absolute phenomenon. He is already, but he's also very, very dangerous indeed. All it takes is for Tadej Pogačar to have a bit of an issue. The last thing you want to do is for Del Toro to assist in the pacemaking. So Del Toro's got to be super conservative here and sit in the slipstream and maybe roll through when the win is basically secure. They cannot take any chances. He is so dangerous.
Pidcock it is that's fighting to close this gap. Matthew Jorgensen is going along for the ride. They're all racked up here. Roman Gregoire is starting to look better and better, but right now it is Tom Pidcock that is trying to close this gap. He wants another podium. He's got his own record over the last 5 years to indeed be added to.
What we've seen over the last couple of years is the way that Tom Pidcock, he won't, when he needs to, he won't put himself into the red. He clearly was put in the red early, paced himself, and then on the shallower sections of the climb has lent on it, like low cadence, high torque. And now he's at the front of this group, actually trying to shut this gap down. That's perfect pacing. A few years back, we might have seen Tom react a little bit more instinctively. He's riding so smart. It always looks a bit worrying when a rider gets dropped, but a little bit like Joao Almeida, just paces the climb and rides it slightly differently. So really smart riding there by Tom Pidcock.
Here is your chasing group: Christian Gregoire, Pidcock, Vermeersch, Jorgensen. This is proper quality. As if Del Toro and Sexas is not. They have indeed still got a modest gap at the moment. It is only modest, just 10 seconds. As you can see, an awful lot of dust to that bike just in front of them is bringing us the most atmospheric of pictures.
Brilliant, isn't it?
Almost in a different atmosphere, a stratospheric at altitude is Tadej Pogačar. He's floated away, hasn't he?
He certainly has. Catapulted away. And is now floating now. You know,
exactly.
Poetry in motion.
He's just held this gap. He's not stressed himself at all. He did the hard work with, 50-odd kilometres to go. That was part of the vanguard. Then went with, he had 40, well, goodness me. I mean, where do the numbers stack up for this man, apart from being impressive? And he's in a holding pattern.
Yeah, he doesn't need to do too much. I mean, even the best riders in the world can get carried away by the moment and get the fungali, just blow, but he's riding within himself. Just in case there's something special comes from behind, he can just lift it a little bit more in the last 10 Ks of this race. But Del Toro doing the right thing. He might just roll through really gently, but he's not going to really push on Paul Sexas. And this is a mark of respect as well. Like, if Del Toro was sure that he'd beat him, he might actually ride with him to secure second place. But I also think Del Toro's more than happy to stay with that group, because I think he knows that on the Via Catarina, he's got the beating of pretty much everybody. Maybe safe for that rider. So Del Toro just riding smart, and he's got his man up the road. The victory is all but confirmed, barring incident now. But Sexas is still that unknown quantity, and that's a mark of respect. So Sexas won't get annoyed by that. If Del Toro's riding like that, it's just, mate, it's because I think you're very dangerous, and it's because I think you're very good. So Sexas has just got to ride his own race now and to secure that podium spot.
We're coming into, after that magnificent sweeping camera shot that we just enjoyed, beautiful work by the Hadicam, I've got to say. It's the golden hour. It's now that filmmakers want the warmth to be generated, to fizz off the screen. And right now, the man of the moment is on your screen, as you see. Look at him. He is just poetry in motion at the moment. He does not look like he's this deep into this day.
There's the tuft. For you Tadej Tuft fans.
Delta Fin.
There it is. I don't know how inefficient it is, but it's the trademark of this man.
Well, there it is. Long shadows cast in this beautiful time of day. And it's a beautiful era if you happen to be Tadej Pogačar, and a hellish one if you happen to be an opponent who's aggrieved by this man's just dominance, which we have seen plenty of today. Cometh the man, cometh the moment. It looks like that gentleman, he was thinking about tapping him on the head, and in the end he just tapped him on the halo.
I thought better of it, indeed.
The aura.
Oh, it's incredible there, and there's where we're heading. That's where we are. That's where we are calling this race from, right in the centre.
Suggestion of rain in the area, but don't think it's going to bedevil us. If you look beyond Siena, you can see it just in the hills there, but I think we're going to escape it, even if indeed we've got a light dusting or even a downpour. I don't think it'll dampen this man's drive for the line.
No, I think we should be okay. 65% humidity. I thought it was about that. Go 3 Ks now. A very gentle breeze today, hardly affected the race at all. Paul Sexas now with Isaac Del Toro. A little thorn in the side of the Frenchman, but again, if I was the DS of this man on the front at the moment, I would just say keep on riding. Del Toro's not going to give you a turn, so almost forget about him. And if he beats you, he beats you, but you're on the podium of one of the greatest races, the most special races in the world. So just focus on your own effort. Don't lose energy by being frustrated about a rider who's doing his job. It's a difficult situation, but these are scenarios that Paul Sexas is going to learn more about himself, he's such a talented rider, but at the moment, it looks like he's got enough firepower under the hood to ride away from this group, but it's his fellow Frenchman, Romain Gregoire, who's leading the chase behind with Pidcock back in the fold.
Yeah, and a modest margin of 13 seconds separating those two groups. But 1 minute and 15 is the clearance that Tadej Pogačar has, as soon, looming large in his mind, will be the final of the Strada Bianchi, the last of the white roads to be dealt with, and then he can start thinking about how to celebrate this one and how much he's going to put into the drive for the line. Here he comes, the last of our Strada Bianchi in this amazing day here, Matt.
Indeed, this is Le Tolfe for the final time. It's a sketchy one. We've seen a couple of riders nearly come to grief. There's your stats, 1.1k long, 80% maximum slopes, and there's a fast run into it, that little left-hander at the bottom. But Tadej Pogačar just floating down at this descent, making it look easy, completely at one with his machine, and with a nice cushion with 12.5k to go of 1 minute and 16 seconds to Group 2, and 1.5 minutes and some change to Group 3.
Yeah, it is steep here. You go into a little V-shaped valley, which we've already described earlier today. And now, here it comes. The last fating for these spectators of this great, great rider. And indeed, the bikes up front need to power their way through the crowds, because the crowds are going to get full vent and lean in for a look at some greatness here.
Fantastical.
It's his, isn't it?
It's looking increasingly like it. 300 metres to the top of this climb, urged on by the Tifosi, calling his name. He'll be getting, Tadej Pogačar's used to situations like this, but he'll be getting an enormous adrenaline spike as he powers his way over the top, the last of this Derato sections here in Strada Bianca. What a crowd, what a race, and another ridiculous demonstration of raw talent by Tadej Pogačar.
And appreciation, listen to it.
He's a rock star, isn't he? Superstar of our sport. He's not Italian, but he might as well be. They absolutely love him, don't they?
King of this hill and every other hill, it seems. Tadej Pogačar is coming home. 11.8 kilometers of the day remaining. He has been through the last of our Strada Bianchi, the very roads that give this race its name. Destination, Piazza del Campo. And what an impressive ride it has been. Likewise for the chase here, Paul Sexas, along with Isaac Del Toro, who is out to mug him if possible at the very last to make it a 1-2 for UE Team Emirates. So if Jan Christen can close the gap as well, you just never know. Romain Gregoire, Tom Pidcock, Jelly Vermeers and Jorgensen, they are busy chasing, still coming through the crowds on that last section, the Tolfe, before they head home. But the day surely is that of Tadej Pogačar's. It's about the podium place now. The race is on.
Certainly is. Sexas is powering up this time to make sure he opens up enough of a gap from that group behind with Jorgensen and Pidcock. I think Pidcock just tried to move up the inside, but Sexas now driving hard. And it is indeed Tom Pidcock on the front. Great ride by Jan Christen, marking the British rider. Jorgensen on the wheel of the Swiss rider, and a superb ride at the back here for Gianni Vermeers of Red Bull Bora-Hagra, the world gravel champion, showing his gravel chops on this brutal, brutal day. But Sexas here, oh, is he putting the Delta under pressure? There's almost a bit of daylight.
There is. It's about a wheel width between the back and four here. Just about stays with it here, Del Toro. This is going to be a big ask, I tell you, for Del Toro to make it a 1-2, if indeed that's the plan. Of course it is for UE Team Emirates, because Sexas is in fine form. He was the danger man. Tadej Pogačar speaking at the beginning of the day, they said, could Paul Sexas win this one? He said, yes, he possibly can, but he can only win second place behind me. Well, let's wait and see. There were big words, confident words, said calmly. It wasn't a brag. It seems to be just a fact.
Indeed. Well, it looks like Del Toro has been dropped.
Oh.
Del Toro has been dropped by Sexas on this this sector. Yeah, I mean, that is Sexas coming back. Sorry, Sexas is out in front. That is Del Toro.
That's Christian pulled away from that group. Yeah, so he's now thinking, can we possibly
see that happen, did we?
could we make this a 1-2-3. That's Jan Christian who's left, indeed, the Gregoire and Pidcock group. So he's trying to bridge over. So if Sexas can be put under pressure here by the Swiss and indeed the Mexicans,
bridging, isn't he?
you just never know.
Wow,
if he can bridge, this could be a 1-2-3 for UAE, the fly in the ointment, Paul Sexas. But here he goes.
10 kilometer ተሪፋቶ ሎ ጸወታ ንኽውዳ
This is amazing. Let's have a look.
Adulation there for Tadej Pogacar, but we saw Christian on the wheel of Pidcock. We then
10 kilometer ይቀራቸዋል።
and then Christian out of sight of the camera clearly made that
ጸወታ
clear daylight. That's
ለማለቅ
Christian. And you look back at the way this race has unfolded.
ሳብስክራይብ ሸር እያደረጋችሁ ቤተሰብ ሳብስክራይብ እንዳገበርኩም ይሐት
Pogacar went over the top. That's an effort that's really difficult to
ኣብዚያ ዘለዎም 4 ሰባት ሳብስክራይብ እንዳገበርኩም ሳብስክራይብ
fueled well, and we are potentially looking.
ነገ ይቀጥላል ላይቭ
He's got a bridge across the gap. It looks like he's eaten quite a lot of that gap just yet. So 118 for the chase group, 140 back, and then a distant 3 minutes and 16 back to what's the remnants of this tattered peloton.
Absolutely remarkable. He comes through the city marker and Tom Pidcock is trying to wind in Jan Christian. They've just about got it. I think that was his roll of the dice, and he goes to the side of the road and says, all right, kill it, fellas. Fair enough. Only a 1-2 for us then. But Paul Sexas is determined not for that to be the case. Or for that not to be the case. It's a better way of saying it. Better way of saying Tadej Pogacar is in charge. There is no better way of doing that because that's precisely the emotion. They come through the 10 kilometres to go. 1.2 kilometres up ahead of them is Tadej Pogacar, who is going to bring this in and can think about any way he wants to celebrate.
Indeed. Well, it's only a tenuous lead. It's only 14 seconds between the Sexas duo and this group behind. So that little acceleration by Jan Christian has closed the gap. And as they come into the outskirts of this city, remember, we lose elevation, and they've got to gain it all again before losing it again before the final climb in. So there's this horrible main road drag where they'll be to see everybody out in front. And so it's 14 seconds it is between Group 2 and Group 3 as we continue to focus on the world champion, tapping out that rhythm, still looking completely and utterly in control.
Reigning world champion, Monstrada Bianchi, only last year, of course. Previously, the best result for the rainbow jersey was second place, Julian Alaphilippe, in 2020. Tadej Pogacar. Honestly, where did he come from? I know Slovenia, but you know what I mean. Oh dear.
Yeah, this is this long main road drag now that he's on. 1 minute 27 seconds behind. Sexas corners, straight on the power. Del Toro sat in the slipstream of this 19-year-old prodigy on the hoods. He's committed now. He hasn't even looked round. He knows that Del Toro's not going to give a turn. He wouldn't expect him to now. He's just got to see what he's got left on the Via Catarina. He's also not got to panic. He looks across and he will no doubt see the chasing group with Christian and Jorgensen in it. So a little bit nervous now for Sexas. Let's just see what anybody else can bridge across. Again, I still think Sexas is looking very, very strong, but the man that looks the most composed, apart from the man out in front, is Isaac Del Toro, and we know that he can pounce like a viper. He's got such an acceleration. He has to be a shoo-in for second place now.
Do vipers pounce, or do they strike?
Strike.
He's not a cat. Cats pounce. You need legs to pounce.
Do.
Snakes famously, they don't have them. If they do, they're called lizards. But anyway,
yeah, it'd be weird if a snake pounced. It would feel wrong.
7.4 kilometres from home. Gosh, it feels like party time here, and I tell you, it's about to erupt. I've got to say, in the Piazza del Campo, in the fating of Tadej Pogacar. You know what? This is breaking down here. Del Toro and Sexas, this gap is starting to close because these guys still have belief.
Yeah, they do.
14 seconds, that's doable. Let's see. You never know. Jan Christian's dream of 1-2-3 might still happen. It's all to be disclosed in the next 7.2 kilometres.
Yeah, the danger here is Christian's got to be really careful. He doesn't want to. He's attacked once. He got brought back. He opened up a gap quickly, but came back equally as quickly. So clearly he's starting to suffer. Otherwise, he would have been able to sustain that effort and make a bridge across. So Christian's got to be careful now that he doesn't bring this all back together. and possibly eliminate the chance of a 1-2. But Sexas hasn't even looked round, but there they are behind. They're 15 seconds, so we know how the gap is foreshortened on this nasty main road climb. They chase Group 3. I've got this group firmly in their sights, but it's still a big gap to cross.
Paul Sexas, what a day he has had. I mean, he hasn't let his head drop. And in fact, there's been moments where we thought perhaps strategy-wise, he could have actually handled it a little bit better. But you know what? If he comes home for second place today, we'll have no complaints, and he will have done nothing wrong because he's delivered.
Yeah, like totally. He's so strong.
Yeah.
I think there's just that willingness to race. He's clearly ridiculously hungry. He's learning with every single race. He's learning more about himself. But no rider's ever the finished article, and he's very early in his career. But there you go, the crest on the top of this climb. It's still held steady at 14 seconds. This little clutch of riders now led by Jorgensen. And they're just stabilising that lead. They haven't really closed it. It's almost internally long over the top here. But this man hasn't missed a beat. Still steady with a nice, comfortable buffer of just under 6 Ks to go of 1 minute and 24 seconds. And there's the final. There's your final Ks for you,
Mr. Beat. It's a techno triumph. And this man, he does.
He likes his rap as well.
Well,
does Taddy?
Maybe he can have a cheesy or lamb wrap. Whatever he likes, to be honest, at the end of today, because he will have earned it. 5.7 kilometres from home. The chasing group at 1 minute 24. He's actually stretching the gap because they are starting to play a little bit of cat and mousage. Del Toro not helping Paul Sexas, who's trying to preserve a little bit of energy for the final delivery. This is the climb, but there's still a descent, a rather cheeky one still to be had. Rather disappointing. You get close to the citadel, and then they take you back out of town and give you just one last punchy climb to deliver. But he's going to...
It's a really tough little running. And he hasn't missed a beat, but that does give opportunities for riders feeling strong in that chase group. The chasing group of Pidcock, should I say. But Sexas, on his own, has managed to take back a few more seconds. So it's now about 24 seconds between the two groups. Paul Sexas has found another 8 seconds over the top of that one. And as you say, I think the other riders behind, Gregoire and Co, are starting to look at each other. There's that final, well, the final spot on the podium's up the road. And I think they know they don't want to give too much now before that final climb to the line. And all it takes on the Via Caterina, giving it its gradient, is one rider to capitulate, and gaps could close really closely, or very quickly, should I say. But right now, Sexas is looking good to at least have the second or third step on the podium. So great riding by the young Frenchman.
Yeah, but still a top 5 for grabs as well, isn't it, for that secondary chase degree. And they may well have to start thinking in those terms. They're only 11 seconds down on Del Toro and Sexas at the moment. This is, in fact, my maths is defeating me. 20 seconds. Yeah. Yes, exactly. So it'll be top 5 for them by the looks of things. 4.7 kilometres to go for Tadej Pogačar. It's just on this flat section, it does drop away from you in a few moments' time. Just come by this rather fetching ochre and smoky pink buildings. And then we have a little shilly-shally before we drop down. And so suddenly the gravity is his friend as he'll start to think about finishing the day. I don't know, has he got enough time to get off the bike, carry it over? He's thinking about these things.
Probably. It might be, it's just, get the climb out of the way, and then he can think about his podium celebration, because he's done that a few times now. He's running out of weight. A little bit of a twitch there.
And again.
50p that one, didn't he?
Oh, and he went a bit too wide there. Half of me thinks he might be playing with Del Toro here momentarily, but he certainly did a very challenging line into that. Maybe it's just starting to fray a little bit for Paul Sexas with just over 4 kilometres for them to go. Only 4 for Tadej Pogačar, who's further down the road. They're going to come to that Quattro Marche right now. In fact, it's the Cinque, isn't it? Goodness me.
Yep. It's about a kilometre and a bit in front of Tadej, about 1200 metres in front of this sort of speed. There's that corner again.
Let's have a look
Got
at it.
Ever so just had to check.
And then a broken surface.
And then
over to the corner here.
Yeah, he went very wide, carried a lot of speed in there. He's clearly pushing here. He just wants to make sure it's secured. He knows now that there's a strong likelihood.
Oh, here we go, and it's coming. Jan Christen says, see ya, I'm out of here. I've been preserving myself. Maybe it was methodology. If he can get back to Sexas and Del Toro, you never know. The 1, 2, 3 may well be on. And Jan Christen has just flown the coop. Now that it's for everyone else to try and wind it back in. Has he gone too early?
Yeah, I think he's got a big acceleration, but sustaining it, he doesn't seem to be able to do that. He's He's still off the front. Gregoire now takes his turn on the front after initial pulls by Jorgensen and Pidcock. We're just coming up to 3 Ks to go for our world champion, who is staring into the face of a 4th victory in Strada Bianca.
Well, I mean, what is left to say about this amazing man? He can actually take victories at will, it seems, but there's an awful lot of preparation that goes into his delivery.
Yeah.
But the way he opens up his seasons, as we've already spoken about today, is something to behold.
It certainly is. I mean, he's imperious, isn't he? There's a lot of preparation that goes in to making sure he's absolutely optimal.
And he does it his own way, unconventional, some might say, Matt.
Yeah, I love the unconventional way that he leads into the Tour de France. He's going to be riding just all of the monuments. He's going to be riding Flanders, he's going to be riding Roubaix, which for a lot of people is exceptionally risky. But he wants to win that bike race.
Yep.
And if he gets it wrong in that race, we know the consequences. It is a very dangerous race, but I like the fact that Tadej has been doing things differently. He is one of the most gifted riders ever, and he wants to properly write his name in the history of the sport while he's able to do so. So he's been criticised, I think, for being almost too dominant, but if you were this good, it'd be disrespectful to give races away. So if you remain hungry, you still love the sport, you've just got to keep winning and winning and winning. And he set the bar very high, but he would not give anything away while he's got this capacity.
Fabulous moment. He asks for confirmation of the gap because he's thinking about it. He's thinking about how he's going to mark this one up, chalk this one down.
Chalk it up. I just chalk it up, mark it down. Both work for me, John. 119, 1600 metres to go.
He's there, isn't he?
Yeah, he's got about 30 seconds on this group now as well. 32 seconds on this group. That's a nice little lead that he's carving out.
Tadej Pogačar, minute and 18 on the nearest chasing group, Del Toro and Seixas. They themselves with 30 seconds between those who will finish in the top 5 amongst them. And then 3.5 minutes back to another group, including Ben Healy now, who gave it a good shake of the stick today. But there is no doubting the class and supremacy of Tadej Pogačar. When he's in the mood, and he usually is, then he's in the vanguard of those who indeed will contest the title. And quite frankly, he's a classic hunter.
He is, just rolls it round, settles back down into the saddle, passes under the Flamme Rouge. 1 kilometre to go. The Rose just rises in front, and we've got that little shimmy-shammy, that little chicane, and he goes up the fearsomely steep slopes of the Via Caterina, which in turn will ultimately take him through to glory at the Piazza del Campo.
He goes under this triumphal arch, which used to be a gateway to the city, not indeed one of the main entrances to the Citadel, almost a tradesman's entrance, you might say. Well, he kicks in the door, invites himself to a party where nobody else is in attendance. He is going to be able to help himself to be on the table yet again.
That must have been a mate. It's, as you say, it's a one-man disco, isn't it? He's got the glitter ball all to himself now.
Do you know what? He can cut whatever curves he likes and dominate every single one of these. This must be a joyful moment, unexperienced by just about anybody else. 600 metres to go. It's all his.
Joyful and indeed triumphant for Tadej Pogačar out of the saddle up this iconic road. Just look at that. Again, another cacophony of sound echoed by these ancient buildings. It is absolutely spectacular. And another unrivaled ride by Tadej Pogačar. Again, hit the season running like he did last year. I mean, this is his 5th win. The last 4 races last year, all wins, and he hit the season as he means to go on. What a ride. We are running out of superlatives.
Well, we'll keep stacking them up, keep knocking them down. Here comes Tadej Pogačar. It is his day. Oh my goodness, there are fans of course, who can say, yes, we saw Tadej.
Tadej Pogačar ቀዳማይ ወፂዋ
And indeed tomorrow, he is in charge of his own destiny. He writes chapters with ease. And this is an annal of cycling like no other. Tadej Pogačar punches the air, and indeed punches all opposition. It doesn't matter when he starts his season. It usually begins with victory, and 150 metres to go. He is essentially just having as near to a lap of honour as you're ever likely to get in this great race. He sits up, hands off the bars, waiting to acclaim the fans here. The Piazza del Campo belongs to him. Tadej Pogacar, a man who defines an era. Absolutely remarkable. He takes a bow and does so with style.
ብጣዕሚ ፅቡቅ ፀወታ ፅባሕ ናይ በዓል ቢናም ክጅምር እዩ ን8 መድረኻት ኣለዎም ኣብ ፍራንስ ኣለዎም 8 መድረኻት ፅባሕ በዚ ላይቭ ክነሕልፎ ኢና ኣሕዋት ኩላኹም ሰብስክራይብ ላይቭ ሸር እንዳገበርኩም
The nearest rival to it said Tadej Pogacar at the beginning of the day. I don't know if he has a crystal ball or whether he even needs one when he's around. But Paul Seychelles is going to come home into second place behind Tadej Pogacar, and he'll be first to offer up congratulations, as if to say, well done, you were the best of the rest.
This is astonishing by this man. Remember, Isaac Del Toro has had a free ride, as much of a free ride as he can in this race. But Paul Seychelles, the young sensation, salutes the crowd. A champion has been born.
19 years of age, for goodness sake. Seychelles could well be a thought.
ሳልሳይ ወዲ ጋንቱ ወፂዎ ንታዲ ቦጋቸር
But soon. And here goes the battle, of course, for fourth place. This is your top five that's up for grabs right now. A sensational ride by Roman Gregoire as the celebrations go on. Del Toro, who finishes third, offers up his thoughts and congratulations and a hug and a kiss, I'll be bound, of course, for Tadej Pogacar. As we look at the finish line behind them, that should be Gregoire just taking the turn in a few moments' time. He's done a phenomenal ride himself, and Gianni Mamesh finishes behind him by the looks of things. Still trying to get a good finish here is Jan Christian as well. They haven't finished their race.
ኣብዛ ዘለኹም ኣሕዋት ሰብስክራይብ እናገበርኩም ፅባሕ ናይ በዓል ቢናም ክንሕልፎ ኢና ኩላኹም ኣብዛ ዘለኹም ድርካብኩም ሰብስክራይብ እናገበርኩም ኣሕዋት ሰብስክራይብ ኣይክፈሎኒ ሸር ላይክ እንዳገበርኩም
Fourth on the day, fifth place for Vermeer. A great ride by Jan Christian. 3 riders in the top 6 for UAE team members XRG.
John, well done. Yeah, quite remarkably so. Fighting to get through the crowd to offer up his thanks as Jorgensen crosses the line right now. Wout van Aert will be coming across the line in a few minutes' time. What a day, and what a day to be a UAE Team Emirates rider. And yet again, Tadej Pogacar is in charge.
It's a stacked team performance by UAE team members. We knew Tadej Pogacar was going to be almost impossible to beat today, but the way his team took the race apart and then managed to get third on the day, and also 6th place for Christian off that super turn. This is Kron now. This is a Wout van Aert, Ben Healy as well. So rounds that corner.
On his wig is Jordan Labrosse here, sweeping up, you might say, Labrosse. Let's wait and see if Wout van Aert is...
ፅባሕ ናይ በዓል ቢናም ይረኸበና ኣሕዋት ብሩኽ ምሸት
The terrier still in here as
ኣብ ናይ በዓል ቢናም ይረኸበና ፅባሕ
He's sprinting Ben Healy essentially as near as damn it as he possibly can. Wants to finish just behind it. The Wout van Aert, who's had a sensational day considering the road that has led to this. Oh, check this out as well. Shoulder to shoulder, tied on the inside. Labrosse is not to be denied. Wants this position. Let's have a look. One more turn to get in here, is it? Till we get to the light. There it is, just ahead of them. And here's the right-hander. Cleverly, there bides his time. Kron, he comes in here. It's going to be 3 to the line here. Kron gets it on the throw by the looks of things, but Wout van Aert, I think, may have nipped in. That's a photo. Oh, my goodness. Every place means something here.
It does indeed. See, Wout van Aert didn't want to take too many risks in the corners, but he's got such top end. I mean, there was a few in the crowd that just obscured our view. They would get confirmation, but it was very tight between Kron, Labrosse and Wout van Aert. But no doubt at all about who's won this bike race, but thrilling battle as well as other valuable spots inside the top 10. What an entertaining day it has been.
Do you know, it almost doesn't matter the dominance of Tadej Pogacar. You have to appreciate what he's delivering to the sport. But also, just acknowledge and fake the performance of those that finish in the wake of this.
Oh yeah, it's a massive, big performance to get inside the top 10 in a race like this, but that's a big smile on the face of Tadej Pogacar. Last year, in the same position, his clothing torn, bloodied, but certainly not bowed. Today, incident-free for the world champion. This race is his once more. Nobody has won it more times now than Tadej Pogacar. Cancellara, he was equal on with 3, but now Pogacar writes another chapter, as you were saying, in his quite remarkable book. There we go.
What a gem. Started uncut, and now it's polished to perfection. Tadej Pogacar takes this amazing race yet again. His 4th, indeed, victory here. Paul Sater nearest to him. Isaac Del Toro, teammate of Pogacar, rounds out the podium ahead of Roman Gregoire, Gianni Vermeersch, Jan Christen, Tom Pidcock, Mathieu Jorgensen, Andy Kron, and Wout van Aert finishes in 10th place, the same time as Kron. Didn't quite manage to throw the bike at the line.
I think Wout van Aert will be pretty happy with that. The winner here, possibly for the winner. Thanks.
Today, victory number 4 at Strade Bianche. How do you compare this one with the others?
Yeah, I know. Probably I always say this, but yeah, chapeau to the team, to the teammates today. Everybody did incredible job. Doman from the start and Kevin to control the brake and getting us in good position in the sectors. Then Felix started with a great pace, and Florian, and yeah, it was just beautiful to see all the guys in the team performing so well, and then also the young bullets like Jan and Isaac. What a job from them, and was an honor to ride with such a team today and to deliver the win. So yeah, I'm super happy.
Take us back to the moment when you didn't allow Paul Sexas to come with you. Was that the key of the race?
Yeah, I saw that he's chasing really hard on the steepest part of the climb on Santa Maria, but I said to myself, I will go all out to the top, and then I will see if he can bridge, or either he will come to my wheel or he will explode, and explode. He will.
በቃ ይሕወት ፅባሕ ይራኸበና ብናይ በዓል ቢና ሰናይ ሕደሩ
So it's enough, and I knew that Isaac is there, and